All right, we're back. We got a question here from PrepTest 104, Section 4, question number 24. This is logical reasoning, a question that begins with scientists puzzled about the development of penicillin resistant bacteria. And if you're using the old test, this is prep test number 27, I believe. 27. So this is going way back now to the early days of LSAT. If you had a mom or dad who went to law school in the 90s, they might have taken this test. So, what are we doing here? Well, we always need to figure out, first of all, what our task is. And this is a horribly long question, and I can see it's about science and everything like that. So you take a look at the question, which of the following most accurately characterizes the role played in the passage by the... Now, when you get a question asking for the role of a statement, what role does some individual phrase within an argument play? Any individual phrase within an argument can only play a limited number of roles. You know, an argument, strictly defined, is... I like to say evidence rather than premise. I know some of you are premise people, but I'm an evidence person. Evidence is a real class you'll take in law school, probably your second year. Premises is not a real class you'll ever take in law school, so I say evidence. We have evidence. We have some kind of missing assumption. The assumption's not there. We have conclusion. Evidence, assumption, conclusion, they all like hang out together like that. As far as the LSAT is concerned, that's an argument. Nothing more than that. And if you're asked for the role of a conclusion, well, the role of a conclusion is a conclusion. It might be a main conclusion. It might be a subsidiary conclusion. That's a conclusion used to support the main conclusion. But most conclusions are just conclusions, and most evidence is just evidence in support of the conclusion, or a premise in support of the conclusion. If you do have evidence, though, it's probably good to ask yourself also, how is that evidence supporting that conclusion? Because a lot of times it gets into those abstract details. Now, let's see here. Ooh, look at that Nirvana watch. Isn't that cool? I love this watch. And also its face is all melty and weird. Anyway, characterizes the role played in the passage by the unstated assumption. So here they're asking for the role played by an unstated assumption. So this one's going to be rough. Because if they're asking for the role played by the assumption is not in this passage. When they say unstated assumption, they literally mean unstated assumption. It's not in the passage. So, like, when you're given an argument, you have evidence, assumption, conclusion. All they give you on the LSAT is evidence and conclusion. So if I said evidence, hey, the weather dude said it was going to rain today. My conclusion, so I brought my umbrella. Weather dude said it rained today, so I brought my umbrella. What was I assuming here in the middle? I must have been assuming that that weatherman was correct, that the weatherman knew what he was talking about. But the thing about assumptions is, they're the things we never say. They're the things people figure out on their own, and your brain does it so quickly you don't even realize that there's an assumption there. So when I say the weatherman said it rained today, so I brought my umbrella, that sounds good. You know, if I showed up with an umbrella and you said, hey, Richard, why'd you get an umbrella today? And I said, the weather dude said it was going to rain. You go, okay. That'd be the end of that question. That'd be the end of that dialogue. There's nothing more to say in that situation. But if you really think about it, it doesn't make any sense, because over here I've got some guy on TV saying that water will fall from the sky like a miracle. And over here I start carrying around this stick. I don't know what that was either. I start carrying around this stick made out of canvas and metal, and I've got a guy on TV saying sky water. And then over here, canvas, metal, stick. They got nothing to do with each other. TV, stick, nothing to do with each other. Unless I assume, an umbrella, protects you from the rain, and rain makes you wet, and you don't like wetness, and you'll do whatever it takes to avoid things you don't like, and it keeps going and going and going and going and going like that. But the main one you're going to assume is that if an expert says something and you follow their advice, you think that expert knows what they're talking about, so the weather person's correct. But you'd never say that. Like, if you said to me, "Hey, Richard, why'd you got the umbrella?" And I said, "Oh, the weather dude said it rained today, and I happen to believe he's correct," you'd go, "What the hell is wrong with you? There is something really, really wrong with you there." Yes, it does, because we just don't say those things. It's just goofy to say. All right, so back to it. If I was to say, what's the role of the unstated assumption that the weather person is correct, I would have to say it's a presupposition I am taking that must be true in order for the evidence to support the conclusion I must believe. It's something I have to believe. Something like that. An unstated assumption, they're asking you what a statement they never said anything about is doing within the argument. So let's see what the statement is. Unstated assumption that some patients who take penicillin develop bacteria with an immunity to penicillin. Some patients who take penicillin develop bacteria with an immunity to penicillin. All right, so you got some people, they take penicillin, and they got an immunity to penicillin and the bacteria just keep on infecting them, I guess, until it's like worldwide contagion. Not that that could ever happen. There's never going to be a worldwide pandemic that just goes completely out of control while incompetence reigns supreme within the administration of government. That will never happen, not in a million years. No way, no how. It's definitely not something that screwed up your senior prom or screwed up all of your junior year of high school, maybe sophomore year of high school. I don't know. But everyone knows that all of you are right now emotionally stunted because you missed an entire year of school. That's just what we, Gen Xers think about you. And we Gen Xers, we are the coolest generation. We are not. We are slowly killing the earth, just like the boomers did before us. Or quickly killing it. I don't know which one we're doing anymore. Anyway, on to the point. The point being, we got this, you take penicillin, you get bacteria that are immune to the penicillin. How did that happen? All right. So scientists puzzled about the development of penicillin-resistant bacteria in patients who had not been taking penicillin believe they have found an explanation. So we've got penicillin-resistant bacteria in patients who don't take penicillin, and we're looking for the role of the statement about patients who do take penicillin and get the immunity. So their question they're trying to address is, you take penicillin and you got some bacteria that can stand up to it. But there are also people who don't even take the penicillin and their bacteria can stand up to it too. How does these bacteria develop? So we've basically got, like that original, that statement they're asking about, the unstated assumption that people who take penicillin get bacteria with an immunity to penicillin. That's part of the mystery they're trying to solve. How can one group take it and get the bacteria, the other group doesn't take it, and they also get the bacteria? That's just weird. How do they both get the same immune bacteria? So it's just I don't know, like, I'm not going to think too much about it because are you going to science school? Let me ask you that first of all. Are you going to science school? No, you're not going to science school. You're not going to become a scientist or a Scientologist or anything like that. Do you give a shit about bacteria? You do not. Do you give a shit about penicillin? You do not. Unless something happens to you, and then maybe you do care about penicillin. But otherwise, they're not testing on your scientific knowledge. They're just testing, you take something, you get this. You don't take something, you also get this. That's the unstated assumption. Why does it happen when you take it and you get the resistance, but if you don't take it, you also get the resistance? How can that possibly be? So basically, the statement they're asking about is the stuff that normally happens, and they're trying to solve the mystery of this weird case where you don't take the penicillin, but you still get bacteria that are resistant to penicillin. The relevant group of patients have dental fillings made of mercury containing amalgam. Oh, Christ. I'm already bored of this. Mercury containing amalgam, and the bacteria the patients develop are immune to mercury poisoning. I don't care. They got fillings with mercury, and the bacteria are immune to the mercury. All right. Scientists have concluded that genes causing resistance to penicillin are closely bundled on the chromosomes of bacteria with the gene that produces immunity to mercury poisoning. So, you got your thing that makes you immune to penicillin, you got your thing that makes you immune to mercury, and these bacteria, it's basically in the same place on their body. It's a little chromosome. They're right next to each other. They're neighbors. I don't know what's going on. I also don't give a shit. Neither should you. They are not testing whether you are interested in this. Are you interested in this? You are not going to dental school. Where are you going? Law school. That's where you're going. Law school. You ain't going to dental school, though. I promise you that. Now. Oh, there is good money in dentistry. Now. Exposure to the mercury kills off bacteria that lack the relevant immunity gene. So you get mercury, it kills the bacteria that aren't immune. So all that's left then will be the bacteria that are immune, the ones that are immune to both mercury and evidently penicillin, and leaves room for those that possess both the mercury immunity gene and the penicillin resistance gene to flourish. So basically, what is the statement that they don't say doing? The statement that they don't say is the statement that you need. It's basically the premise of the mystery you're trying to solve. Oh my God. If you said, that guy was in the mafia and he was killed in an execution style killing by some sniper called, I don't know what he was called, the Coyote. And then we got this guy who wasn't in the mafia, but he was also killed by the Coyote. What's up with this guy who was killed? Oh, you expect a mafia guy to get killed by the Coyote, but you don't expect the regular civilian to get killed by the Coyote, because why would he? Why would he? And so that thing there becomes basically the thing that you accept. It's part of the mystery. That's all we're looking for. So, A, it's a hypothesis that's taken by scientists to be conclusively proven by the findings described in the passage. So, first of all, conclusively proven, they're not trying to prove that statement. It's an assumption in the argument. And it's a hypothesis that's conclusively proven. Have you proven that, some patients who take penicillin develop bacteria? The argument wasn't even about those people. The argument was about people who don't take penicillin and get the immunity. A, it's just garbage. It's just garbage time. B, it's the generalization that, if true, rules out the possibility that some people who do not take penicillin develop bacteria resistant to it. A generalization, if true, that rules out the possibility? No. It's the start of the mystery. It's part of the mystery. You got this one statement they're asking about. You got the other statement that you take the penicillin and you get resistance in the bacteria. And people who don't take the penicillin and they get resistance in the bacteria. One does not rule out the other. And by the way, if you don't understand what an answer choice says, like A and B are pretty dense. I'm going to agree with you. A and B are pretty dense, and maybe the others are dense too. But if you don't understand what an answer choice is saying, should you ever choose it, No. No, you should never choose it. You should never choose. That would be insane. Why would you choose it? Don't choose it. Don't choose it. I'm warning you. Don't do it. Don't do it. So don't choose something because you read something and go, boy, what did that mean? That sounds so smart that I'm going to outsmart the test by choosing the answer that I don't understand. What? 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 Why would you? What is the point of choosing something you don't understand? Now, if you've ruled out 4 of them and you don't understand one of them, that's fine. But just choosing something because it sounds smart is dumb. Don't do that with LSAT questions. Don't do that with your romantic partners. Don't do that with anything. There's always those like highfalutin movies and TV shows, and people go, oh, you got to be so intelligent to understand this. And you watch it and go, this is awful, but I guess it's intelligent. Why? Because some snooty asshole didn't understand it? Don't choose an answer because you don't understand it. Don't try to like something because you don't understand it. Don't choose a person because you don't understand them. You understand what you understand. Don't try and twist the meaning. All right, on to, I've already forgotten, C. It is a point that in conjunction with the fact that some patients who do not take penicillin develop penicillin-resistant bacteria generates the problem that prompted the research described in the passage. And that is almost exactly what I said. That is, I mean, you're going to have to like roll back and confirm this, but answer C is almost precisely what I said. I said, it's the start of the mystery along with this other statement. They work together to generate this mystery. That's all C says. You got 2 statements, they work together to make a mystery. Okay. D, it's the tentative conclusion of the previous research that appears to be falsified by the scientist's discovery of the mechanism by which bacteria become resistant to mercury poisoning. I have no idea what that means. Neither do you. And should you sit there and go, I should really figure out the meaning of D? What if it just means nothing? What if it's just a bunch of bullshit words slammed together to fool you? It could be, right? It could be, because it is. The tentative conclusion of previous research. So, first of all, this statement is not a conclusion of previous research. The statement about people who have the bacteria who don't take penicillin, that's what they're trying to figure out. So it's not a conclusion. And that's falsified? No, this statement they're giving us is a statement that it's the statement we're starting with. You know, it's the starting point of the mystery. It's not falsified. Discovery of the mechanism by which, oh my God. It's terrible. It's just terrible. E, it is a generalization assumed by the scientists to conclusively prove, first of all, conclusively prove, you know it's not going to be that the explanation of the problem case must involve reference to the genetic makeup of the penicillin-resistant bacteria. All right, so the explanation of the problem does have to make reference to the penicillin-resistant bacteria. That last part of E, that's correct. They do need to mention that. But it doesn't conclusively prove the explanation. It's just a starting point to go figure some stuff out. It's definitely C. I'm not even going to check the right answer on this one. It is 100% C. I'm sorry that took 20 minutes, but honestly, this is how you should be reviewing. This is how all of you should be reviewing. You should be reviewing the questions in this sort of depth. If you can do it out loud, do it out loud. If you have someone who's willing to listen to you explain what's going on and you can actually explain it in words, put it into words, don't just have feelings. Anyone can explain something and go, oh yeah, I see why C is right. Yeah, you might see why it's right, but can you actually articulate why it's right? Because that's the difficult thing to do. And that's the part that does take 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes for me to explain it. It wouldn't take me 20 minutes to do this question, obviously. I look at that statement. I know what kind of question it is. I read through. I go, all right, so they're looking for that role of the unstated assumption. I see it's like the start of the mystery with this first statement. I read through the answer choices. Hey, answer choice C, it's the start of the mystery. Okay, done. And I'd be in and out, like a thief in the night. I don't think about these questions. One, I am not a scientist. I am not a dentist. I am not a bacteriologist, or I don't know, what does mercury do? I think the Hatters used to rub it inside their hats, and that's why we had Mad Hatters, because mercury would then seep into their brains and they go insane, and that's why Lewis Carroll had the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. I believe that's correct. And by the way, I am, it sounds like I might be drunk. First of all, it's 11:38 in the morning. Secondly, this is coffee from, Thanos was right mug. I love this mug. Thanos was right. Half the people on this planet. Seriously. Fuck them. Hope this helped. You have a good day. Bye.